What's up guys, Max Tech Toy Box here, and as you guys can tell from the video title, I purchased a 2023 Model X Plaid. I'm basically making this video to go over the buying process, the delivery day, pickup day, and also just my first-hand impressions with the vehicle now that I've had it for about a week or two. Mainly made this video because when I was combing through YouTube, I really couldn't find anything talking about any of these topics specifically for the Model X. Model 3, Model Y, you can find tons of videos, but for the Model X, just not as much. So I wanted to go ahead and give you guys my thoughts and first-hand experience. So starting things off with the buying process, it was completely different than what I experienced with the Model Y. For one, I did have a trade-in vehicle. For the Model Y, I did not. And so with that being said, I did have to go ahead and go through that whole appraisal process, which required me to take photos and submit it through the Tesla app. In terms of reserving the vehicle, it was pretty much all the same. The Model X Plaid that I got, of course, is the Model X Plaid. I got the white interior. I got the ultra red car color, and it already comes with the towing package. I didn't upgrade the wheels, and those are the only oh, and I also got enhanced autopilot. So those are the features that I did when I did the custom order, and I wouldn't pay that deposit. And then of course, I applied for financing. Now at the time when I applied for financing, the APR was 5.99% for a well-qualified buyer. But we will touch on that further along. So once I submitted everything, I got, approved for credit or for financing. They'd have to do the appraisal information. Like I said, took those photos. They gave me the estimate for what they thought the car was worth, and I could accept it or not. So that part was fine. Okay, cool. Now fast forward a little bit, maybe about a week after I purchased the vehicle, Tesla had a bunch of different adjustments, which I think made a huge, or rather, which affected my particular buying process. They dropped the price of the car for about $5,000, I think, after like the first week. This was like across the board with a couple of other vehicles. They sent me an email basically saying, hey, we dropped the price of $5,000, and of course they're gonna honor that for my car. Cool. Then about 2 weeks later, they increased the price to $2,500, but then you got like 3 years of supercharging or something like that. I didn't get an email. When I contacted the rep, I found out I don't qualify for that because my car was actually still cheaper than, what it was originally priced at. It was still a $5,000 decrease in price that I got. They didn't increase the price of my vehicle, and that's the reason why I didn't qualify for the supercharging miles. A little bit of, not a bummer, because of course I'll take the cheaper car, but free supercharging is cool too. I do the majority of my charging from home, so it's not a huge inconvenience, and I only charge when I'm going on like road trips, so not an issue. Now, after this, right, maybe about a week before my delivery date, it took about, I think I put in my order at the tail end of March, and I picked up my vehicle around May 18th, I think was my delivery day. I'll go ahead and flash it on the screen here so you guys can see. So it took a little bit over, actually it was a little bit under 60 days for me to pick up my car. So I would say middle of the pack. I think I got super lucky when I made the purchase for the Model Y, and I got it in like record time. It was like less than 28 days or something like that. Cool. But anyways, a week before my delivery date, I just happened to go online to check out, what they had on there, and it showed that now they were offering 3.99% APR for well-qualified buyers. So I'm like, okay, that's better than what I got. Let me reach out to them to see, to make sure that I should get that financing deal, because I haven't collected the car yet, so I don't see why I wouldn't qualify. So I ended up contacting them. They said, okay, they'll put in a request for the finance department, and I should hear something back. Day went by, didn't hear anything. I texted them originally through the app, or rather through like the service text number that you get, which is, it's cool in some instances. It's a monitored line so that someone is always looking at the texts that are received, but it's not cool that you never get the same person. It'll be someone different who may not be aware of a case. But anyways, a day later, I contacted them via phone, and the rep told me, well, that the previous rep just put in like a general request. They didn't state specifically that I wanted the 3.99% APR. Why they didn't put that in, I don't know. That rep didn't know either, but he was much more thorough, collected the information and put it in, said I should hear something back in about 12 hours. Maybe not even 12 hours, a few hours later, I went on the app and I found out that the APR had dropped. It was like 4.4 2.3 or 4.5 or something like that. But I still didn't understand why I didn't get the 3.99% APR. I would say I'm a pretty well qualified buyer, I have pretty good credit. So I ended up having to contact them again via the phone, and the rep that I was on the phone with told me that, well, I did qualify for the 3.99 and actually had multiple offers, and that I should be able to view them through the app. But I couldn't. So they ended up had to close down the app, and they had to shoot the offers to me individually. Over the phone, you know, they were saying, yeah, well, you got an offer here for 4.5%, requiring an extra $5,000 down, or you have another offer for 5.9, like, you know, they're telling me a whole bunch of numbers, and they want me to decide on the phone which one I wanted. I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. I want to look at the offer, review it, and find out which one I want. And the rep was completely understanding. So what I ended up doing was they had to shoot each individual offer to me through the app, and I just took screenshots, and you know, and then they basically said to contact them via text to see which one that I wanted, and they would go ahead and submit it. Now, the issue that I have with this process is, for one, if I was someone who was not so, what's the word I'm looking for? In tune with knowing everything about, you know, my financing deal, how much I'm paying for a vehicle. And I mean, some people, they don't care, you know, they go ahead and they submit everything, and they assume that they're getting the best deal possible. But I feel like if I had not been someone that was into this, or, you know, making sure that I was checking all that information, I would not have known that I got multiple offers. I didn't like the fact that somehow Tesla picked an offer for me and figured that that was the one that I wanted. No, if this is a traditional buying process and I went to a dealership, I would be able to review all of that information. And it would be one thing if it was, you know, the best offer available, but it wasn't the best offer available. So I don't know why they automatically picked that for me. So I didn't like that. I ended up qualifying for the 3.99% APR, and that was the one that I ended up going with, you know, so I let them know that. But again, this was just a lot of back and forth within the final week of delivery. Like I said, this is like 2-3 days before I'm supposed to pick up the vehicle, and I was still going over this. So just a part of the buying process that I didn't like, and that has to do with the fact that there were just so many moving variables in the process of purchasing the vehicle because of the price drop, because of the promotions they were offering, because of the change in the APR and the financing options that were available. So I didn't like that. So overall, the buying process for me, in comparison to the Model 3 that my wife purchased, the Model Y that I purchased, and even just with talking with other people that have purchased Teslas, with my family members and friends, this was definitely just something that I didn't like as much. I like the idea of using the app, and like I said previously, it was seamless. If I didn't have a trade-in vehicle, and I guess because the first time that I purchased the Model Y, and even with my wife's Model 3, the APRs weren't changing so drastically, but 5.99% to 3.99% is a pretty drastic change, you know. And what happened previously when we were purchasing them is that the APR actually was going up, it wasn't going down. So of course, if it was going up, they were honoring the previous APR as long as it was within that 60 days. But I digress. Moving on to my delivery day. So I'll go ahead and show you guys some footage that I have here. Delivery day was pretty seamless. A little bit different than it was again for the Model Y. Usually you just go over to the vehicle, you just accept on the application, and then the car will unlock. Unfortunately for me, I couldn't do that. I had to go and talk to a rep, and that was specifically because I had a trade-in. So when I went to the rep, it was like, oh, no problem, it's because you have a trade-in. I just have to hit this button. Boom, he hit it. Basically, what that caused Tesla to disassociate the Model Y from my phone and associate the Model X now. So he did that. I went back outside. I think I had like a document that I had to sign as well because I was trading in the vehicle. Then I went back outside, and everything was seamless. So just looking at the car when I first saw it, of course that ultra red was just, I love that red color. I'm kind of in between because my wife has the other red that they have in comparison to the ultra red. I think I still like my wife's red, but that ultra red also, it just does something in the right light. So I really like that, and it looked, you know, beautiful. So getting in the car, I went ahead and did, you know, I was super thorough. Now, I'll tell you guys firsthand, when I purchased the Model Y and the 3, I was not as thorough as I was here with the Model X. I really was checking everything out, from panel gapping to seats to like everything. I was there for at least like maybe 30-45 minutes checking stuff out. And I don't know, I think I mean, of course, this car was much more expensive. Not saying that those cars weren't expensive, because they're pretty expensive as well. But I think it was just more so the rush. Like, I was just more excited, I guess, for the Y and the 3. And so, I mean, I probably shouldn't have, but I probably just rushed through things a bit more. And I mean, those cars were fine anyways, so like super minor things that popped up with it. But I had no quality concerns at all with the Model X, which is great. Like, no panel gapping issues, no stains in the car, like nothing. Everything was spot on, perfect. Like I said, I was thorough, so I was checking the seats. I was checking everything out to make sure that it worked the way that it was supposed to. So my first issue, though, unfortunately, came when I went to go drive the vehicle. And when you first get in any Tesla, you have to calibrate the car. And unfortunately, after it calibrated, I still could not operate the autopilot. I cleared and recalibrated the camera. I think I did it like 3 or 4 times, and it still was not working. It said that additional calibration was required. So I guess I should go back a little bit, because I didn't touch on this in the buying process. So in the middle of the purchase, or during, before delivery day, I got an email from Tesla saying that with the introduction of hardware 4.0 and Tesla Vision, there were going to be a number of features that were not going to be available at the time of delivery for my Model X Plaid. Again, with this vehicle, I did purchase enhanced autopilot, and the things that were not going to be available at the time of delivery were the summon, the auto park, I forget exactly what they call the feature, but the ability to like detect objects when you're moving less than 5 miles per hour, that was not going to be available. I believe there was one other thing that they stated was not going to be available with. Anyways, so I'm driving the vehicle and it won't turn on autopilot. So I'm like, like what's going on here? I don't understand what's happening. And my house is about an hour away from that service center. So obviously I did tons of driving, right? So it should have calibrated. Thankfully, a little bit later on in that day, we had lunch plans with a friend. So I was actually back over in that area. And so I went by the dealership. I told the representative what was going on. He said, okay, let's go take it for a drive. I think you need a software update, because he also had a Model X Plaid and it was something similar that happened with his. So we drove it around, brought it back. He said, yeah, he thinks that it needs an update and he would have somebody look at it. Now, why this is something that just wasn't already done before I picked up the car, I don't know. It just kind of seems like if this is something that they know is required, then why not just push the update? Anyways, we were there for about 30 minutes. I had my son with me and my wife. They were both like, okay, they're ready to go home. It's gonna be a little bit later in the day, so I had to make an appointment. So fast forward a week later, they like sent me a text message in the middle of the week, reminding me of the appointment, saying, hey, if you need a loaner, or rather if it's something that takes over 24 hours, that's the only way that you qualify for a loaner. And if your vehicle stays on site for like longer, like an extra day, every day that it's there on site, it's like $100 a day or something. Now, the following weekend, I was going out of town to Orlando for like 4 days. So I'm like, okay, great. In my mind, though, I'm like, I'm not paying $100. Like, you guys are inconvenienced. And of course, the customer's always right. But this is an inconvenience to me. I went to go purchase the vehicle to pick it up. And these problems that are present are not my fault. So I was getting ready to hand it to somebody if I needed to. Long story short. But anyways, I go there on that Friday, I go to shop out the vehicle, because I'm thinking that it won't take that long anyways, because it's just a software update. But the representative tells me that it's going to take, not going to be ready until the following day, and that they would get me a loaner. So I said, look, I'm going out of town. And they were like, okay, where are you going? Orlando? All right, no problem at all, sir. I'll go ahead and make sure that I write on here that we're giving you, permission to go out of that 250-mile range, and, we'll take care of you. No issues. So I'm like, okay. I didn't even have to act a fool. I didn't have to say anything. They just honored it, which is great. So I ended up getting a Model S loaner, which actually I didn't like at all. My friend has a Model S Plaid, which I got in once before, but I guess I didn't pay too much attention to it. But because we had this Model S for like 4 days, we're getting in and out of it, I paid more attention to certain things. And this is an older one from 2017, and it just showed me how far Tesla has come in terms of how more futuristic their vehicles are now. If I had gotten that Model S back in 2017, I don't think that I would have still been purchasing another Tesla, in my opinion. But this is about the Model X Plaid. So fast forward, I went and picked up my vehicle on that Monday, and everything was fine. It was calibrated, enhanced autopilot, or rather, autopilot and enhanced autopilot, they worked. Enhanced autopilot at this point in time basically just allows you to change lanes because, you know, the other features are just not available right now. And that's something they did give you the option to remove that if you wanted to. But I just decided to keep it because Teslas are pretty known for getting regular updates. And I don't think this is something that is going to take too long before it's taken care of. So now going on to my, you know, true first impressions of the vehicle after having it for about 2 weeks. And I really like the car, like a lot. It is larger than the Model Y. It's wider, which gives you like that little bit extra space. And it's not like the Model Y was small, but, you know, it's just in comparison, the Model X is bigger. My son has tons of room, you know, in his car seat in the back there. Lots of storage space, obviously. And it's fast, like crazy fast. Almost like it shouldn't be illegal how fast that thing is. It's so crazy to me how much bigger it is than the Model Y and how much more faster it is when you tap that pedal. The doors are so cool, the automatic doors, the way that they open, the front door when you walk up to it, it'll open up. The gull wing doors are so freaking cool. Now, I'm not like a flashy person, but I do like things that stand out. Like I had a Mustang, you know, a few years ago, and I got it like in that bright orange color that they had because I just love that color. I guess to some people that might be flashy, or, you know, I guess it stands out, but that's just, you know, that's my personality. I like it. But the gull wing doors, they're kind of like too flashy, I guess, if you will. Like I love them and they're so cool, but I just feel so weird when I open them up. It's like when I press that door, you know, it opens up with my son in the back seat, and it's always a conversation starter, right? Whenever I go to do that, I'm bringing my son out, people are always looking at it because it's just something that's so futuristic and cool. So, I mean, I love them, but like if you're someone who doesn't like, I guess, that added attention, you may feel a little weird doing that. But the automatic doors are cool, the interior, the cooled seats, and well, in Florida, I'm only doing cooled seats right now. They're so cool. The features of the car in general are pretty nice. Now, the thing that I don't like is right now with, I believe it's a limitation of hardware 4.0 as they have not pushed an update out yet. But I find it really weird that my Model Y and even my wife's Model 3, right now, they don't have ultrasonic sensors, but they can still detect how far away from objects you are so that you don't run into anything. Right now on the Model X 2023 and also the S, that feature is not available. I spoke with my buddy who picked up his Model S Plaid like 2 days or like a week before I did, and he also doesn't have that feature. So I find that just jarring that there's cars that are less expensive that the manufacturer makes that have that feature available, and it's not available now on their, you can say, top of the line, you know, car series. So again, I think it's a limitation to hardware 4.0 right now as they're still waiting to push that update. But I just feel like it should have been something that was already ironed out, because it's just weird to me that that feature set wouldn't be available on a more expensive vehicle. So I don't like the fact that that's not there yet, because like it should be there, you know? Apart from that, everything else about the vehicle I really do like. It's just it's a smooth ride. It's fast, it's large, gives that extra space. The other thing that I don't like, and again, I think this is a limitation to hardware 4.0, with the front doors. So they're supposed to, or at least the driver door is supposed to open up wide, basically, so that you can get in, so you never have to touch the handle. Right now, it can't do that. And I believe, again, it's because of this limitation until we get an update. And the reason why it's kind of an issue is because those doors, they're heavy, and when you actually have to open them, it requires a little bit of strength. So it almost feels like, it's not like you're breaking something, but it just feels like you shouldn't have to push that hard for the door. So I hope this is something that they address rather soon. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe if you guys have any questions. If you're looking at getting a Model X as well, I'll do my best to get to them in the comment section. Again, I made this because I just didn't see anything specifically talking about the Model X Plaid or just the Model X in general 2023. Tons of videos on the internet about the Y and the 3, but not as much about the Model X. So I hope that I brought you guys some content that you haven't had a chance to take a look at. And until you guys see me again, take care, stay safe. Peace.